Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Take 5 with Graz with Gas, the world, the universe's premier sports commentary show. Many in the sports industry don't make a move on Monday until this show is posted and they know what the real people are thinking. How's that for a new slogan?
A couple of ponderous old men trying to make sense of it all.
That's right, trying to make sense of everything that's going on around them and distributed worldwide by our friend Jason Puckett and the Puckett Sports Empire, located in historic Ballard, Washington.
So how's your weekend?
Colt, my weekend was good, not as good as Colt Emerson's. You know, it would have been great if they could have won the game and he hit 19 home runs or something. But that was pretty cool. The video of him walking into the manager's office at Cheney Stadium in uniform, ready to go. And again, I'm surprised this hasn't happened more often, but the idea that, you know, the M's made the decision, you know, late morning, obviously, or around noon, and said, hey, you got 30, it's a 35-mile drive. You got to get to Seattle right now because you're playing tonight.
And traffic sucks, no matter what day it is.
I wonder if they said it was cool.
It was very cool, and just a reminder of it's only about a 30-mile drive, but man, it's a million miles apart, you know, from Tacoma to the big leagues. And yeah, it was great to see him, although a little worrisome to see him as well. I mean, it's kind of a signal of what's been going on the first 46 games. Things are not all well in the SS Mariner, but certainly, in my opinion, not as bleak as people may feel they are.
You and I have talked about it over the years. The Mariners, it feels like for a lot of years, and maybe I'm overlooking something obvious, they've been really fortunate with injury luck. You know, there's been a guy here, a guy there. But this, you know, early, maybe this is just going to be a couple of bumps in May and all that. But all of a sudden, Donovan's been on the injured list twice. Ripken, you predict, or no, Ripken, there I am again. I should have to pay $1,000 to you every time I call Cal Raleigh. That's why this show is such an important show. We don't know what the hell's going on. You know, Raleigh, you said a couple of weeks ago, maybe they should just put him on the injured list. And, you know, he was sitting for 3 days and he came back. They said, well, he said he was okay. We examined him. He looked okay. I mean, those things can happen too. But suddenly now he's gone, and this is one of those weird injuries. It feels like it could hang around. Maybe it won't. Yep. You know, Crawford gets hit by a pitch. I mean, all of a sudden it feels like they're like one more big bad piece of news away from like, wow, this is really a concern if it's not already.
Right. And I don't know that it is already. And, you know, they're a good team to begin with. So you've got some depth. It's not like your season is going to be over if you lose some guys. And you're not like the Dodgers who, withstood about 12 injuries last year and then and finally, you know, got enough guys back to make it all the way. You know, what's happening here is the Mariners are missing some key guys, but no one's running away with the division. They're still very much in the thick of things. They're not 10 or 15 games out. So, like I said, all is maybe not well in the current edition of what's going on, but it's 46 games. I don't usually lift my head to look at the standings with any importance till Memorial Day anyway. You know, it'd be like we both used this analogy before. It would be like, let me think. It would be like judging the Seahawks season after 5 games, I think, after 6 games. Say, well, they're out of it. You know, if they're 3-3. So it's, you know, it's too early to be worried about that stuff. I can understand some of the things that you said. I mean, I definitely think they've been lucky with injuries, and we'll see if that continues. But, you know, Gilbert has been pretty good. You know, he had the bad start. Kirby's been pretty good. He had a couple bad starts. Castillo pitched better. They're going with a 6-man rotation now. So it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks. But, you know, as long as the American League is playing the way it is, they're in fine shape right now. They're not in bad shape. There's plenty of time, and it's not no way is this a terrible hole they can't dig out of. And remember, this is the team that's used to winning, Gas.
That's right. That's right. They've had last couple of years.
That's a factor too. Yeah.
Small sample size, but another little here, which it shouldn't come as a surprise, is that Julio cooled off significantly last week. And again, not having Raleigh in the lineup obviously is going to affect the pitches that Rodriguez sees. He's still, you know, he seems to have pulled out of his annual slump at the start of April, and he's posted pretty good numbers, but he did cool off notably when Raleigh went out of the lineup. So yeah, it's, you know, and all of this stuff, again, maybe if everything is truly a 10-day thing or a 15-day thing, by early June, you could have everybody back. But it's a little concerning just because it feels like these things do tend to stack up. But again, even if they do, you know, there is still so much baseball left.
Right.
And especially in this division, it doesn't feel like the M's are sitting on this, but in this division, feels like a stretch where you could win 16 out of 20 games, could put the division away. You know,
Right,
like
right.
if you suddenly got hot right now. I mean, I think it was 96 was the year where they had 5 losing months and 1 winning month, or maybe that was 97, and they won the division. You know, so you get hot for a little stretch here, and you can put some distance, but it doesn't feel like they're sitting on that right now.
No, and this
maybe,
is, I go ahead, guess.
no, that's fine.
I was just going to say, I really do believe in that team that's used to winning. I mean, they've been 90 plus wins, 3 of the last 4 years, so they're not going to panic. And for fans looking at it, this is not a team that hasn't done it yet. They got to the AFC, the American League Championship Series last year. I mean, they've been to the playoffs 2 times in the last 3 years. They are a winning team right now, I think, with a winning attitude about them. And I think that'll carry the day when it gets hot, when August is dragging on. We're watching Hard Knocks. As long as, the way I look at this, I had to get that in.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at the Mariner team, guys, if they're within 6 games in September, I'm fine.
And meanwhile, okay, let's look at the half full aspect of it. We do have a chance now to see Colt Emerson, who does have can't miss stamped all over him. He looked great last night. I thought looked really poised in the field, made a couple of plays, put the bat on the ball. It's going to be tough. It's there's a side.
He's not going to hit well, guys.
Right. I mean, there's a side of him that's going to have to catch up to what's going on. But it's always fun to see a young guy come in. And I say this every year. Feels like every team that's hot in October, there's always like one guy you weren't necessarily counting on. And I think the M's were thinking they'd bring Emerson up this year, but now they're counting on him. They're counting on him to be good, not great, just good. And we'll see, how that works out for him. But he's the youngest player. The last time a player younger than him made his debut, Graj, you want to take a guess? It's obvious, at least it was to me once I saw it.
Felix, probably.
Yeah. Felix was 19. When he debuted in 2005. Emerson will turn 21 in July. He'll be able to legally buy a cocktail on July.
Well, I think you want him to fill in right now and play well. I don't know if this is going to be for the whole season, Gas. I mean, he was only hitting 250 and struck out a whole lot in Tacoma. His bat may not be major league ready yet. We'll see. But, it's important that he's a piece they can put in now. You can get a taste of it now. And maybe, when you bring him back in September, he stays with you. So, I'm like you, very eager to see him play and like everything that I've seen so far, which was not a whole lot. It was just a game last night. But, he is exciting. He was and is their top prospect. And, Mariners' top prospects over the past couple of years have been pretty good. Pretty good.
Meanwhile, over on the gridiron, the pigskin, the Seahawks, we both thought they'd go away from a Super Bowl matchup, and of course the NFL decided that's the season opener against New England. I don't know if this has already been decided or not. I'm glad the Hawks don't have an international game. That just always feels like to me it's just extra work. And I don't know that it benefits certainly the fans that want to go. It benefits the NFL trying to become a global thing. I mean, I get all that. But in the big scheme of things, I bet every single coach in the NFL, I bet all 32 of them would say, I'd prefer not to do this because it's so far out of a team's comfort zone. Now, you look at what they're asking the Rams and the Niners to do to go to Australia to play a game. It's crazy.
Yeah, different it is when you win the division versus not winning it. Right. Yeah, you're right, man.
That's 15 hours from the West Coast. I mean, you are up there forever. You get 3 meals on the flight. That's how long you're in the damn airplane. Oh,
holy
God.
Cow, man. Yeah, but the Patriots, that's fine. It's fine. I think we both would have liked to see the Bears maybe over them. And, it might have been fun to see Kenneth Walker make his return. But it's all right. It's all right. Patriots are good. Super Bowl rematch is good. And they deserve that showcase spot, and they're getting it.
It'll be interesting to see what the Hawks do and what the NFL does for pregame, because last time the Hawks were in this position, it was fantastic. Beautiful September afternoon, and of all things, they had Soundgarden to play about 8 songs out in the parking lot before they opened the game. It was fantastic. It's the only time I ever saw them, and it's sad Chris Cornell, the anniversary of his death is today. Such a beautiful voice, such a great singer, and he was so great that day. He embraced the whole Hawks thing and talked about how crazy and loud Seattle sports fans are. So I don't know who they'll get for this one, and what they'll do for the but I do remember this. I remember getting down there early. And it was fun. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
very fun, festive atmosphere. All NFL games are fun, but it was cool, allowing you to reflect for a second. I think they played the Packers that night.
Right.
Just, hey, they won the Super Bowl. That's why this game's happening. They won the Super Bowl, and it gives you that extra kind of oomph for
Agree
that
completely.
night.
Agree completely. I think it's very cool, and it's deserving. And when does the World Cup end? By the way, you know that off the top of your head?
With the championship game.
When though? I mean, you
I
son
thought
of
I
a
answered
bitch.
it.
You asshole.
Thank you. I think it's July 21st.
Oh,
something
okay,
like that.
okay. So there's no impact there whatsoever.
No. It's late July. It's like
Okay.
early June to late July for the World Cup. And I think the Seattle matches, I think the last one is like early July. I
Okay.
think they could have a match as late as July 12th, and then they move them to some other cities. And I think the championship's on the East Coast. So, that won't be a concern at all. Hey, speaking of concerns, there are people that are wondering if they should be concerned about this. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not sure I care because it's so different on the West Coast versus the East Coast. But a lot of stories about the NFL slowly shrinking what's called the early afternoon window on the East Coast, the 1 o'clock kickoffs, which are the 10 a.m. kickoffs out here. And traditionally, there were 7 or 8 or 9 games in that
Usually,
window.
yeah.
Generally not the best games. The best games are in the afternoon, the evening, or on Monday night, but good games. And they've gone in. I think it's in 5 years they've gone from 211 games in that early afternoon window to this year there'll be 197 as they continue to farm more and more games out to special nights and to streaming services and all that. I'm not sure it affects us as much out here because I got to be honest, the early morning games on Sunday, unless the Hawks are playing in it, are usually ones that I bypass.
Right.
Because there's so much going on in the afternoon. The 1 o'clock kick is usually pretty good out here, and then the Sunday night kick is usually pretty good.
Well, I would say it would impact one thing that I like, which is red zone. So, I mean, that was always, the red zone is fun to watch because you see all the games, especially, when they had 7 or 8 of them going in the mornings. But you're right. You're playing almost every day of the week now, and you're on different streaming services, which is, happening with more and more frequency as the years are going to go on. So I think that's probably a trend that will continue, but I don't think it affects us much on the West Coast. I agree with you.
And it's interesting too, because they're not going to eliminate that window. But one thing that they've done, they play so many of and they must have data that shows that this works. But I think you're eliminating so many viewers when you start games on the West Coast at 6 a.m. The European games. I get it. You got to do, but it's like, wow, I don't know. I mean, I remember the Hawks played in Germany, it feels like a couple of years ago, and I remember getting up and like having one eye open for most of the game.
Wasn't that against the Patriots? Wasn't that against Brady?
That might have been against the Patriots, yeah. So I don't know. Look, if it still feels like the NFL is an unscrewable pooch.
It is.
And they've got they've got games I think scheduled for every night of the week this year except Tuesday. There will not be a Tuesday night game, but every other night, not every week, understand, but over the course of the season they will play on every other night of the week at least once.
2 on Christmas,
starting with the Hawks on Wednesday night.
Right. 2 on Christmas, which is something new as well. Now the NFL proves it every day. They're the unscrewable pooch. Nothing affects them.
I know you watched the PGA Championship. I'm not a huge golf guy, but if you had asked me this, I couldn't have got this. Would have been like Mitchie's old prediction show. I'd have been so far from the pin, everybody would have laughed at me. I had no idea that an Englishman hadn't won the PGA since 1919. It's been 107 years since a golfer from England won the PGA Championship. Is that right? That's what I saw.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it, and. Gary Player won the last one they had at that course, in the specific course they played yesterday, but he's South African, of course, so that doesn't matter. It was match play before that, but that doesn't matter either. I was very surprised to find that out. Because it's just the odds are there would have been.
Right.
But it was, I tell you, Gas, it was great. I mean, you had, for the last day, I think most of the last day, you had 15 guys within 2 shots of the lead. I've never seen anything like that before, where you go from shot to shot to shot, and the lead was changing every time you did it. So it was really a very competitive thing. And Aaron Ray, who I didn't know all that much about, but has been a solid guy, solid pro, wins it, and they've really got they've got a lot going. I'm in it because I gamble now on the PGA Tour. So, I mean, no point in hiding it. So that's why I'm paying more attention to it. And it's been fun because, we're seeing something in Scotty Scheffler, who is a generational talent. but he's kind of in the place now where either rise or you don't. I mean, he's won a lot of majors. He hasn't played as great this year as he played the last couple of years. He's got a family, and he always talks about that being an important thing to him. So I think it's very interesting to see how this guy, who is as good, I mean, numbers he's putting up are Tiger-like, is as good as he's been if he can maintain that. And you got Rory McIlroy, who might win a Grand Slam this year. He certainly's got a shot at it. Oh, excuse me, had a shot at it if he had won the PGA, but he goes back to play the British Open in Northern Ireland, his home. So he's a guy having a great year. So a lot of guys having great years. And yeah, it was very, very competitive, very fun yesterday.
I don't think anybody ever gets tired of winning at the professional level, but you certainly can lose your edge because you've won a lot. At some point, other things are important. It's one of the things, for all the problems he's had in his life, it's maybe the most amazing thing about Tiger. You could say it about any of the guys at that elite level in any sport, that he never lost his absolute desire to win and to dominate and to crush. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on with Scheffler, but it's natural for people. Hey, I've had a lot of success. I got a lot of money. Other things are going to come in now and occasionally take away from the priority of this. Maybe that's not the case there, but with Tiger, it never was.
He's interesting because he'll say it. I mean, he's outspoken in a kind of a quiet way, because I'm not sure how much sense that makes, because he's not trying to make a point necessarily, but he drops little things in the conversation sometimes. He's really an endlessly fascinating guy. So he's good. You stopped me though for a second though, because you talked about elite athletes, and it was the 54th straight win for Secretariat in the Preakness.
Oh yeah.
Which I keep track of always. 54 straight wins. Gassy would have won this year by 33 lengths.
He just destroyed him, right? Yeah.
33 lengths. He was almost 6 seconds faster than the horse ran at Laurel, and it was a different racetrack, but it was the same distance. On Saturday, it's astonishing to me how great that horse was.
And it's an example too of, the breeding just can't keep up with it. Part of it is Secretariat was great, but part of it is the stock has just naturally been bred down, because Bill Nack used to talk about this. It basically, you go back to just a few horses that started all this a couple hundred years ago, 150 years ago, and that everything has come from those horses down through the years. So it's become harder and harder to find the strengths I'm the furthest thing from an expert on horse breeding.
I know you're driving at, though, man. I know you're driving at. A lot of them are coming from Secretariat's bloodline now. I've got a little bit of that in there, but that's true. But you know what? He's also beating times. This is beating the Preakness time by 33 lengths. For a horse that didn't run in the Derby. Yeah. So it's against a fresh horse, quote unquote. So. Yeah. Just a salute, because he's still the most remarkable athlete. Yes, I consider the horse an athlete that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Wouldn't you give a little bit of your wild Gras fortune that's growing every day because of your savvy ability to rake money out of the PGA via relentless online gambling? Wouldn't you give a little bit of that money right now to buy a ticket and fly to Buffalo for tonight to see the Sabres and the Canadiens in Game 7? Gras, I can't remember, I'm not an expert, but I can't remember a Game 7 in the NHL where both teams have goalie questions. I mean, there's been, but both teams they've had issues with who's going to be in goal. Montreal's goalie, is it Dubes, gave up 7 straight goals. He got pulled in the middle of that. I mean, it was Montreal giving them up, the defense. But, Montreal gets a 3-0 lead in what should be a deciding Game 6 on their ice, and Buffalo just doesn't blink and comes back and wins 7-3. It's this should be outstanding tonight.
I agree. And, Buffalo is out of nowhere. They haven't been to the playoffs. It was the longest streak going, I think, in all the sports. 15 or 16 years before they had this incredible second half of the season. And then, this comeback against the Canadiens, which has been unexpected. I mean, you frankly couldn't have expected it. But, we both kind of agree on this, I think. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs is usually the best Game 7 there is in any sport.
Right.
It doesn't always come through, not always, but when it does, there is nothing to match the tension and the excitement of that circumstance of Game 7, because it's so fast. And, if you've been watching the series too, it always has ebb and flow, always. So, I'm looking forward to watching it tonight. Definitely.
So that's this evening, and then I'll take you back to as we wrap up to Saturday evening, a guy I know you know and love, and I was fortunate enough to be able
Yeah.
to be there. Dick Baird, our longtime friend, longtime broadcasting compadre, and also
Husky honk.
incredible coach, a guy who really affected and impacted a lot of young people in the Puget Sound area. Because before he was the Huskies guy, he was coaching in high school and at junior colleges and community colleges. Dick Baird turned 80 Saturday night, and they had a big party for him up at Club Husky. Your boy Softy was the MC, Graz, and as you'd expect, Softy just morphs into Red Fox when you hand him a microphone. I mean, the profanity was flowing like lava, just bang, everywhere you looked. F-bomb this, F-bomb that. It was quite the evening. And Baird, I might know one of his grandkids told the story. You know, Dick has a lot of grandchildren, and there was a year where they all kind of gathered at their cabin. They were all still kids. Most of them are adults now. They were all still kids, and they'd gathered at Dick's cabin out on the peninsula, and he got them all revved up because they were going to do an Easter egg hunt. It was around Easter. They were going to do an Easter egg hunt. We'll go hunt for the Easter egg. Let's go. And so I don't know if there was 6 of them, 8 of them for them. Anyways, a bunch of kids. Now they're out of the house looking for the Easter eggs. Blessed relief, right?
Right.
Well, Dick only hid 1 Easter egg. He's like, that'll keep him busy for a while.
That's classic, man. That is classic.
Just beautiful
Baird
guy.
Was one in a million, man. It was just a great Husky and great Cougar too.
Played for, God, he told a funny story about almost getting into a fight with Jim Sweeney that I wish he had told me earlier. It was just fantastic. About I think he was a graduate assistant, and Sweeney gets him in his office one day and says, get in here. Because Dick had a reputation for being a partier, and it was well earned. He's a graduate assistant now, and he says, were you in Moscow, Idaho last night? And Dick goes, yeah. Did you get in a fight? He goes, well, how'd you know that? He goes, I know everything. Because you think you're pretty tough, don't you? And it starts escalating.
Oh, my God.
And Dick's like, I do think I'm pretty tough, but are we going to go right here?
Well, you know what? I mean, what other thing Dick Baird spoke to was the genius of Don James, Gas. Because there were 2 different people, but Don James identified exactly what Dick Baird could do for his football team. And he did it. He knew he was the great recruiter, was the great guy to have focusing on that, and he did, and he was responsible as anyone for that fantastic Husky run near the end of Don James' career here.
He was there for about 7 or 8 years with Don as the recruiter, and I didn't know this story until Dick told it to me for the book I did on the Huskies, and he talked a little bit about this Saturday night too. The guy who convinced Don James that Dick Baird could do it, Jim Lambright brings him in, says, you got to meet with this guy, he's great. And Don meets with him, and goes, he's just so different, and I don't know. And he gets a call from one guy who could hold a little sway over him in the early 80s, and that's Lenny Wilkins. And Lenny calls DJ and says, look, this guy's run my camps for like 8 years, and I've never seen a guy who's better with kids. Just factor that into your decision. And Don figured,
the rest is history, man.
Yeah, if Lenny says he's okay, he's worth giving him a shot for a year. Dick Baird was a 37-year-old graduate assistant. Because Don said to him, says, you got kids, you got a wife. He goes, I know, but I've worked it out and I can make this work. I mean, graduate assistants get nothing. And Dick turned it into a hell of a career. So happy 80th birthday and many more.
Absolutely.
Beautiful man, Dick Baird. All right. Speaking of Dick Baird, let's go to St. Petersburg, Florida, where drunk and angry Marcia Morgan is in the news, Graz. Drunk and angry
Marcia Morgan, okay.
Marcia's 48. She was mad that a neighbor had parked in her yard. That's understandable. She covered the offending vehicle with toilet paper. Now, the problem is it's 4 in the afternoon and everybody sees her doing it, so the neighbors, or the person who parked the car, calls the police. And they arrive, they charge her with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. They say she was intoxicated and refused to cooperate.
Of course.
Oh, and they also said she was dressed in a hot dog costume.
Just because?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, look, I got great respect for law enforcement officers, but sometimes they don't do their jobs right. And whoever did this arrest did not get an explanation as to why this woman was dressed in odd. It just in the police. I actually found the police report online. It says a suspect was dressed in a hot dog costume. If I'm that guy's boss, I'm like, and
right. Holy cow, man.
What's the point? All right, man. Happy hot dogging to you.
See you, buddy.